Good evening, and call this Citizens Forum to order. We have 4 people signed up to speak. First up is Isabella Williams. If you'd come forward, state your name and address. You have 3 minutes.
My name is Isabel Williams, live at 205 Mason Circle here in Laverne. Can I approach y'all to give you some pictures?
You hand it to the officer.
This is a property at 708 Willowview Drive. It looks like it's been abandoned for a long time. It's next to two elderly women that have got robbed about a month ago. We have mutual friends, and my mutual friend asked if I would go over and help them. And this property next to them, it smells like dead animals. The grass is as high as my hip. Something needs to be done. I know the city wants to go forward and bring new stuff to this, but we got to fix old stuff before we can bring new stuff in. I just wanted to show you pictures of this. There's no sense in it. None. And she said the property's been abandoned like this for probably about 2 years. Broken windows. It's boarded up now, but yeah, something needs to be done. I think codes needs to look closer on Willowview, and I think maybe if we get that street more people proud of being on that street, maybe we'll have a little less crime on that street. And I have one other thing. I've resigned from the Senior Citizens Board. I thought it was good if I come and explain why. The first reason is my mother's very sick. So I do not have time to volunteer anymore as I did. Secondly, I'm not happy with members being voted off. We're all on there volunteering. We all try to do the best for the center and everybody there. And I just feel that I don't think it's right that one person can dictate that people can be kicked off of a board. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am. Miss Fran Glover, if you'd please state your name and address, and you have 3 minutes.
Thank you. Hi, I'm Fran Glover. Excuse me. I live at 105 Sinking Creek Circle on the Lake Forest subdivision. I'm here really to talk, I guess, to the park and recs. I heard there's going to be a new dog park, and I'm really excited about it. I've been a dog owner for all my life, a resident of Laverne for 20 years, and I've visited many, many, many dog parks in 5 states. And I feel I have a lot to offer, good and bad. I mean, I've seen the worst of dog parks, and I've seen the best of them. So I would really like to get on the ground floor with, somebody that, I could voice my opinions to, because I really wanted to see it, succeed. That way I don't have to go to Nashville or Smyrna or, So I just wanted to get that out there. I put my phone number on the sign-up sheet. And I just want to thank you for letting me speak. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Next up, we have Deborah Hewen. Please step forward, state your name and address, and you have 3 minutes.
Good evening, everybody. And I'd like to first off express my condolences to many of you who have lost loved ones just recently, friends of loved ones. I'm here tonight because I'm being removed from 2 boards. The mayor had brought it up that he wanted me removed. It didn't come as a surprise to me because earlier in the year I had sent a complaint and had been in contact with several city department heads about Jason Cole conspiring with other people that don't like me for one reason or another to have me removed from boards. They've even copied screenshots of me from 1984 when I did a modeling job in SWAT magazine with some guns for doing Charlie Angel's poses. It was a modeling job. It was no indication that I had those kind of guns and was going to shoot up the city or something, but I saw where Jason Cole, a founding member on this block party site, had encouraged this kind of behavior and thoughts. There's plenty of screenshots about it and screenshots where he's encouraging them to remove me from boards. that I serve in the city, making claims that I'm unstable and I'm crazy. Yeah, I feel crazy sometimes, but you know what? I am not crazy. I've not ever been diagnosed as crazy, and at 62 years of old, it should have shown up somewhere by now. And I have been slandered by this mayor like no other mayor I've had problems with when we have disagreements, but I have never experienced anything like this with any other city official or mayor ever before. I had supported him, and during that time I supported him during the campaign. He asked me to do things that I think was wrong now and that I shouldn't have done, and was sorry for it, but not allowed to say I'm sorry for it because of legal reasons. But I'm sure the person that's directed to knows what I'm talking about. And it was wrong, and I am sorry. And I'm sorry that Jason could influence me like he did, but I see he influences a lot of people. He plays on social media like a fiddle. I've never seen anybody play on there as well as he does at manipulating various groups and people. He monopolizes most of the groups. He's even banned my Lost and Found Pet site from posting lost pets on any of the pages he has. He's even asked other administrators of other groups in the neighborhood, in the city, to ban my Lost and Found group. And I have those screenshots too. And it's not just about the pets. I'm a real estate agent for 24 years in good standing, and I care about my city, and I want the best for it. But as a homeowner, I want to see my values increase. As a real estate agent, I want to see everybody's values increase and our city become pretty. And I know any of you that I've ever supported before, we've discussed things like that, and you know that I do care about my city. And personal differences aside, which I've disagreed with everybody on here. Matt Church hated me at one time, but
Your time's up.
Abuse of power is what Jason's doing. Please use your fairness.
And last, we have Tony Vanetta. Sir, if you please come forward, state your name and address. You have 3 minutes.
My name is Tony Fanetta, and I live at 131 Greenwood Drive. And I just wanted to get up and thank Alderman Noel and Alderman Church for sticking up for their boards and their people on their boards. It was said that I posted stuff on social media. Well, that's my Second Amendment to do so. But I did not post things about the senior center. That was screenshotted. It was put on by other people. That was a private message. And I'd hate to see everybody's private messages off of Facebook get put on Facebook and see what they say. It was two friends talking, and because I was hurt and upset, you say things when you're hurt and upset to a friend that you're trying to work something out. Why is this happening? Why are they doing this? And so when you do that, you do intend to get upset. You do intend to say things you really don't mean. But to kick somebody off of a board that has busted his rear end for more than 5 years, because I was doing things for the senior center before I was even on the board. And we're hurting the senior center. Well, the seniors. And people just don't care that they're hurting the seniors when they take somebody off to the board that's donated as much time and energy as I have to the seniors. But again, I do want to thank y'all for sticking up for us. Thank you.
Thank you. With that, I'm going to close the citizens forum. We will begin at 7 o'clock. Good evening, and welcome to the Board of Mayor and Aldermen September 3rd, 2019 regular meeting. It is 7 p.m. Call the meeting to order. We do have a quorum. The prayer will be with Alderman Church, and the Pledge of Allegiance will be with myself. If everyone would please rise for the prayer and the pledge.
Now, let's pray. Dear Father, we come to you tonight with open minds and hearts as our city moves forward with the growth And the good and the bad, Father, this board has seen some of the best days of the city of Laverne, and we've seen some of the worst days of the city of Laverne. Please watch over each board member as we make the decisions that will affect lives from here to eternity. Father, there's some storms coming ashore in our friends in Florida. Watch over them. We pray that the water may rise and the tides will go away, and the loss of life could be horrific. Father, watch over all the first responders that left our volunteer state to help the ones in need. Watch over our volunteers that continue to step up in Laverne every time we call for them. Father, watch over each person as they leave this meeting tonight. Father, watch over the ones that we've lost recently, and as they look down on us, help us make the right decisions. Father God, I ask this in your Son's name, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Turn and face the flag. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Need a motion to approve the minutes from the August 8th, 2019 public hearing and August 8th, 2019 regular meeting.
So moved.
I have a motion to approve. Need a second.
Second.
I have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Minutes are passed. Next, we have the Outstanding Performance Award. So today we're going to recognize for outstanding performance one of our team members from Parks and Rec. And I want to ask Mr. Webster if you'd please come up. Webster, good to see you. This is the City of Laverne Outstanding Performance Award, granted to you for your dedication and hard work for the City of Laverne. The city hereby recognizes you with this award, and we thank you for the excellent work that you do for the City of Laverne. All throughout the city, people see you working and doing things to make this city better. And I know David sees it every day. Our city staff sees it, but I wanted to recognize you so that our residents can see it. So congratulations, sir.
Webster. Appreciate it.
Webster. David. Now you got to give a speech too.
Thank you.
I'm going to tell you about Webb. He thought he was getting an award on behalf of the whole department. It's the only way we got him here. When I started working here, Webb was on afternoon shift, and they put me on a morning shift, and he would not talk to me for a month and a half.
You're right.
Until he found out him and my brother went to high school, and then all that changed. But we wouldn't take the world for him. He's probably one of the most finest human beings you'll ever meet in your life.
Yes.
We appreciate him.
Thank you.
Moving on to department reports. Chief Clark, Fire Department.
First, I'd like to personally thank Mr. Webster. He takes care of us at the fire department just as any other place. He's always there on time. He takes care of business, and out the door he goes. And we truly appreciate you, Webster. You have the report for August. 277 calls. Take note, 196 of those were medical. 7,000 gallons in water usage. You also have incident by stations, As you can see, response apparatus 96, engine 41, which is located here in center of town. And then also by time of day, as it peaks somewhere around 8 to 8 p.m. at night. Actually, about 10 o'clock at night. We're still running that trend. And then also by shifts. I've included also a administrative report of all the accomplishments we've been able to take care of in the month of August. Also, I'd like to say that we have 4 personnel in Florida currently from the fire department that's part of our special operations swiftwater response team. They are hunkered down in what's called Stark, Florida, that's on a military base, and they're in staging currently. I just received a text just a second ago, and they could be moving at 10 p.m. tonight following the storm. Are there any questions?
Chief, I have a couple questions
Yes,
on
sir.
the 4 guys. At the time, we were already a little short-handed. Coverage in the city is still good.
Yes, sir. Our battalion chiefs, before I made those arrangements, I checked with all 3 shifts to make sure that we could accommodate each individual. Now, we do have 2 on B and 2 on A that are currently in Florida. So they're not on one shift.
Chief, how's heavy rescue doing?
Actually, after a few conversations with some aldermen, it's up and running. It's going to prove me wrong. But anyways, $50 fixed our little issue, and it's ran this week, and we've had a couple of things that Thomas has came over to adjust, and we're watching it closely, and it seems to be doing the job right now. So
I would like a comment on that. Also, several months ago, we made comments that there was a time at LFD when it was a private company, we utilized duct tape to keep the trucks going. We actually have a piece of apparatus currently that we're using duct tape again to keep the apparatus going.
Well, man, it has done well. We're trying to make this thing work and give it all it's got, but at the same time be efficient and safe in that same manner. And we found a way to do that currently. I can't promise what tomorrow may bring, but they are safe and it is efficient currently as we speak.
And as the chief, you make the decision when it comes to the point where the apparatus is not safe for the firefighters, so you're going to take it out of service.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I toured Station 2 the other day and got to pick up one of those new vests you all got. Man, you got to be in shape just to coach that thing.
They're heavy as long as if it's not distributed equally. So it is a little more weight. However, with that protection, I think that it's not as bad when it's distributed equally where it's supposed to be.
Chief, I'd just like to say I've never been a fan of that truck right there.
Understood.
just
However,
wanna say-
$50, and we worked collectively with Mr. Garland and Thomas, and really I contribute a lot of those things to our fleet. They've really kept us up and going. We have a great working relationship with these guys, but all hats off to that department that's helped us out.
It's just unfortunate it's keeping them so busy.
They can create miracles.
On another subject, that second party ambulance that was in our city for 12 hours a day, we're starting to see it's really not making its 12-hour shifts here recently. Has that changed with the county?
I spoke with Director Hudgens here the other day, and there are times where they have to respond to other emergencies in other parts of the county, such as Smyrna. And, they have to go where the call is, which they do. However, we did make an agreement where they pull out, if Medic 9 and 16 are out, then at that same time, they're pulling another truck that's deeper in Smyrna to Old Nashville and Sam Ridley.
I understand that completely. However, our interest is the citizens of Laverne.
That is correct.
And the agreement sitting with the county mayor that you and I sat with, verbally, he assured us that we'd have our truck 12 hours a day.
That is correct. And as far as as far as I know, that truck is stationed here. However, if they're inundated just across the city line, then that truck will respond and not receive a Murfreesboro truck that will take even longer to get to that patient. To be honest with you, they made record-breaking calls in the month of July. Over 3,000 calls that month. We made 277. So they're tremendously overworked.
Oh, no, I agree.
And we're making concessions to make that happen.
I agree. I know they've stretched it as far as they can stretch it, but it is known,
Sure.
and as members of the board, it's our responsibility to
absolutely.
make sure the county's
And
fulfilling
me-
their obligations.
And
for that second
myself as a fire chief and working with other agencies to make sure that we have the best medical emergency response that we could possibly have.
Right.
I'd like to just say here too, last Saturday, my son, I didn't realize was allergic to wasps, but he is. It turns out I was not at home. I had to call 911 because he got stung. He was having an allergic reaction. He was swelling. He was getting a rash. And immediately, it was Rutherford County that responded to my home. And so just because someone lives on the other side of a city limit doesn't mean that they're not here for the greater community. I mean, our Rutherford County is the county. It includes the whole county, so wherever the need is. And unfortunately, the need was at my house that day, but they're here serving Laverne. I can attest personally to that. And they probably saved his life, and I appreciate that.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Police Department, Chief Walker.
I was tickled to see Webster because I'm just 3 days older than him. I think it's more than 3 days. My birthday just comes 3 days before his. And one other thing I'll get out of the way, yes, my team lost this weekend. Yes, I was disappointed I didn't get to see it and watch it. But I'm not a fair weather fan either. I've been a fan all my life. I was raised in Southeast Tennessee because you're the one that's given me the most grief over it. You can see that total calls for service have increased August to August, 18 to 19, 9%, 14.3% for the calendar year to date. But if you look over there at the bottom, you can see it's real small. It's 0.1% increase when you're looking at the fiscal year to date. That's only 2 months, of course. And the Toppers data won't be available because of the holiday probably until maybe even the first of next week. But as soon as that happens, I'll pull it together and then email it so everybody's got a copy of it. A lot of things have happened over the last month. Some good things, really good things, school supplies. We've got probably 2.5 pickup truck loads of school supplies over there that have been donated. We've got about, it's a little over $1,100 that's available right now. And Summer, bless her heart, has been trying to get a time where she could get to us and we could get a picture made because there's additional money coming from our Sonic venture. And we had a good time. It was hotter than blue blazes that day, but they also contribute 10% of the day's sale, not just the time we were there, but the day. So there'll be a few more $100 coming in for that, and then we'll be distributing. So thank you to our community and so many people who have helped make sure that we have the tools our children need in our community to learn. And those go to our 4 elementary schools, plus we have some special things going to LHS CDC classes because they have needs that elementary school children don't have because they're older, and we we're working to try to help the ladies there because we got some awesome special teachers at LHS, and they're good as gold. I'm going to say something. As I get older, there's sometimes I don't really care what I say. And I'm going to tell you what I posted yesterday. Folks, it ain't over. Don't quit praying. That big storm's still out there. It's slowed down, it's weakened, but it's still going toward the northern part of Florida, Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, Virginia, and on up. We don't know yet exactly what it's going to do, but please keep those folks in your thoughts and prayers. Everybody in Laverne. I posted yesterday a buddy of mine that I graduated from high school with, Squatch County High School, class of 1971, who is a pastor. He lives in Oviedo, Florida, and he's pastor at a church in Orlando. And he did a brief thing live, and he wasn't preaching. He was just talking. He used his textbook, as I'll call it, and had some really good thoughts and ideas about the world as a whole, but especially with this issue. A lot of people, millions of people, are still there. We have people from our state who have gone to help. They may not stay in Florida. They may be moved to Georgia. They may ask for more help in Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina. And it's the same thing we had occur about 3 years ago. If you'll remember, Matthew skirted everything, and then there was tremendous amount of damage and disruption there in South Carolina and Georgia and on into North Carolina too. So if you will, please keep them in your thoughts and prayers. Our folks have been extremely busy over the last several weeks. Just late last month, we had only 2 murders this year, and what's sad is it was an estranged husband who had been in Georgia a couple of weeks who came back to Laverne and was talking to his estranged wife about the children on the front porch, pulled a pistol out, shot her, and then put a pistol to his head and took his own life. Unfortunately, his estranged wife passed away a couple of days later. That was one. We also had a young juvenile out of Davidson County come here, get into an argument with some folks at one pizza place. The other folks decided they would leave and get out of that situation and went to another pizza place. That young man followed them down there. He said he was in fear. Well, he followed them and wound up taking a 41-year-old man's life by shooting and killing him, and him a juvenile, with a history about this long. And the ones we see have histories about that long, and that therein lies part of the problem, is the juvenile justice system with no accountability. When you're a juvenile, no matter what age you are, if you're committing big boy, big girl crimes, at some point in time, somebody's got to say enough's enough. But we were able to work with several days with Metro Nashville Police Department, and we were able to ensure that a man who was involved as an accessory to a murder and then another young man that did the murder were both arrested in our city. And that's happening more and more frequent with people coming here from other places trying to be here. And we do all we can to work with others, and our folks are out there working like crazy. As far as crimes are concerned, as you all well know, they're still down overall, although some are up. But other than that, if we could keep the fire department off the softball field, maybe we get that trophy back. But other than that, that's all I have to say. Any questions?
Yes, Chief. Can you speak a little bit about the DUI checkpoint from this Sunday night?
The DUI checkpoint was done with the overtime funds we received from Tennessee Highway Safety Office, and we had folks out there working on that overtime, they reimburse us for the overtime. And I think we had one DUI arrest and several other violations, but that's okay. If there were more out there on the road at that time, there would have been more numbers. But apparently folks stayed off the road at that time, and that's more fun than having to arrest people and take them to New Salem Highway, to the Rutherford County Hooscow or Crossbar Hotel or whatever you want to call it.
The Hooscow.
Yes.
Are you able to comment on the chase that night as well from Metro?
No.
Okay.
No. I was asleep when that occurred, and nobody has filled me in on all the details. So.
Chief, I have a comment. That
Yes.
email thread from your area of the woods, Woodland Hills, on the parking.
Yes.
I know it's a minor incident, but we're getting more and more complaints on the parking situation, whether it be Woodland Hills, Lake Forest, different areas of Laverne. What can we do to help with that situation?
Give
I
us
know
some
you guys are
folks
running
that can do
full
nothing
speed.
but enforce parking regulations, because we have a maximum of 5 or 6, usually on a shift, and our average is no more than 6.1, I think, on one shift this month. That's scheduled up front to work. That doesn't mean you're going to have that. And that's only 1 or 2 days that occurs. But I'm not being facetious when I say it. Seriously. Patrol officers are out there for a reason. They patrol the neighborhoods to try to ensure if things are going on, we can try and see it, or if they have calls, they're there much quicker. But if they're tied up on parking violations, those are not misdemeanor state offenses. Those are city ordinance offenses. And to be honest with you, there's not a whole lot that we can do other than warn them and then ticket them, and they come in here, and that's about it. It doesn't go on a driver history, so virtually there's not a whole lot that we can do other than do that. But when you take time out to do that, you're taking someone off of patrolling a neighborhood, and we get more complaints over not seeing a patrol officer on a certain street when you think that we have almost 190 miles of streets and roads in the city of Laverne. Yeah, there are going to be days that somebody wasn't on some section of one, simply because of the call volumes we have. They're up.
Right.
And that therein lies part of the problem. Now, from reading between the lines, I think some of that may be, if you read it carefully, it looks to me like that there may be some issues other than just parking, that there may be some other thoughts and influences there that may be causing some of those complaints. Okay. Maybe who it is that's in that residence. And if you notice, nobody said where it was.
Right.
No street, no address.
Right.
Not even what part of the subdivision it's in.
And we're starting to get, me personally, it was Lake Forest, now it's Woodland Hills.
We do too.
And when I addressed that, I almost did what you said. I tell them what kind of situation we have with our officers. Our officers are, they're covering, I didn't know it was 191 miles. I told them, the radius of Laverne.
It's about 190.
And
right.
Their answer is, the law's the law, and they're correct.
Yeah.
So I didn't know if there's something we could create, or do you have to be a police officer to monitor that, or is that something another department can pick up as a courtesy warning, citation, or I don't know the rules.
When the officers are patrolling, when they see something and they do stop, and they do put warning stickers on the windows. It's only been about 3 weeks ago that half of Woodland Hills was raising Cain because somebody that got a warning sticker. And it was my general area of the subdivision, and that residence, the folks have room for about 4 vehicles. blood pressure. Sorry. Little story. Almost had to call my brother in the white shirt a minute ago.
Yeah. You all right?
Yeah, I'm fine. I am. I'm fine. The problem is, they have people come all the time, park on the street. They park on the street with one car in a driveway that'll hold 4.
Hey, we can finish this conversation later. Just
No,
have
no,
a seat.
I want
You're
to
getting really
finish
red.
this
You may
part.
Chief, you may want to check him out.
Seriously, I want to finish this
Okay.
part. Part of the problem we have is neighbors against neighbors, who neighbors are, what they are, and part of the problem we've got, and it's in my own neighborhood over there, is people don't want to call. They don't want to say anything. They want to write under an assumed bogus make up email address because they don't want anybody to know who they are. A lot of people do. They'll tell us up front who they are. They'll tell us where it is. And we can do something about that. But if we don't even know, you're going to have to write every inch of street in there to figure out where in the world it is, because it's anywhere and everywhere. If you have a birthday party, as I talked about before, if you have a wedding, a death in the family, this, that, and the other, yeah, you're going to have visitors. You're going to have visitors coming to your house, and sometimes there's not. In Laverne, as we all know, there are places you can't get one car in a driveway, and it's hard to do. So, you know, got to have a little bit of a heart sometimes, too. Use a little common sense. We have discretion that's given to us.
I agree.
I stop a lot of people. I write tickets sometimes. Sometimes I don't. Sometimes I give written warnings. Sometimes I give verbal warnings, depending on how excessive it is, what it is, and how things go. But sometimes, like I got the other day, a young man on Facebook, a message to me that said, "I don't know if you remember me or not, Mr. Walker." Well, I'm not Mr. He's not here. He's not been here in almost 4 years now. I'm just Mike. He said, "When you stopped me, I didn't have anything on my record. And you talked to me. And you gave me a break. And it's been a while. I still don't have anything on my record because of you, and I appreciate it." Sometimes those go much further
Right.
than doing something else. And I'm going to let Chris go out and check my blood pressure, if you will.
Thank you, Chief. Coast Department, Randolph.
I want to start out saying, too, that I've known Webb since high school. And there's probably not that many folks in here that go back that far, he and I, but he's been that cat's been one consistent dude all of our lives together, and it's well deserved, sir. The August report for 2019, let's see, we had 27 single-family dwelling permits. We had 4 commercial permits issued. There were 9 miscellaneous permits issued. There were 11 signs and 2 grading permits issued. There were 6 others, to include additions and remodels, permits issued. We had a total number of permits for the month of 59, for a sum total of $3,464,000 even. Try and do that. Our plumbing permits, single family, there were 30, and there were 1 commercial. The mechanical permits, there were 29, 1 commercial. Complaints for the month, there were 122 tall grass, 24 junk cars in the yard, and 53 miscellaneous complaints inspected. For the month, there were 309 building inspections performed. Our monthly revenue with impact fees for the month was $59,673.02. Year to date, it's $885,927.92 impact fees. Total number of single-family permits issued year-to-date have been 117. This time period last year was 195. Total number of permits year-to-date have been 357. And if I may, real quickly on this that was given earlier, to let this young lady know that we are knee-deep in slum clearance on this piece of property right now. We're doing an extensive title search. Our attorney, our illustrious legal team, has been able to provide some assistance in getting the title search done, for we felt like it would behoove us to make sure that we notified each and every one of the family members that we could possibly get to, so that we don't run into any issues because of what we do. But and there have been a few others that are on Willow View that we're working on them as well to get some issues taken care of there as well. But for the most part, that particular one is slated for slum clearance, and most of you know what that entails. It's a long, drawn-out legal process. Evan and I have worked on a few together in the past. I think when I first came here, that was one of my biggest pet peeves, where there were a few properties that needed some attention right away. So it's not something that I know we had one over on Forest Ridge that was problematic. It was even to the point where a snow event closed city offices, and the same day we were to have the hearing. So when the hearing didn't occur, we had to go right back to step one and start right all over again. So the process can be lengthy, and in this case it's even more so because of the issue with the heirs, making sure that everyone in that family has been notified before we start taking drastic measures to get it removed.
So let me ask you a couple of questions, Randolph, just so the people that will be watching this later. With everything being equal, nothing dramatic, nothing crazy, from the time you get a phone call till the time tall grass is actually taken care of, how long does it take?
Well, we can get it done sometimes in a matter of just 48 hours. We have a process, and I've gone over it with each one of you as to what that process is, and sometimes a simple door hanger put on the doorknob today can get it cut overnight, and there you have it, less than 24 hours. But some cases we're not so lucky. I will tell you this: that process to get grass mowed is looking rather bleak. As y'all were well aware of last month, on the consent agenda, there was a contract that was signed for a lawn care service to do the maintenance for our problem yards that we have to have contracted out to have the work done. Kyle Cantrell and I met with him one day, gave him a list of 4 properties that need to be taken care of, one being the one over on Center. That was one of the ones that was taken care of. There were 4 homes, 4 properties. They took care of 2 of them and did not make any attempts to mow the other 2. Of course, we've got a turnaround time that from notification to them to have it done. That's not been the case. We're to the point now where, and I don't mind saying it in a public forum, but they will not return our phone calls. So I have even been coy about sending from a phone that does not relate to or connect to the city of Laverne. They will not answer that call nor call that number back.
And what's ironic about this conversation, you brought this up and said this was the problem in the past.
Yeah.
And here we go again. So
and we had another bidder, one that I did not choose, and I aim to get with Felicia as fast as we can to try and get this back on the agenda for y'all's approval, so that we can get a contract with this organization, this other firm, who will hopefully provide the service that we deem necessary.
So when you enter into a contract with these people, is it just they come out and mow 2 places, but they're contracted to mow 4? What are their, what's the repercussions, or what's the...
And that's a question more so for Mr. Cope and his firm, is that we have a valid contract with them now. I know there are, I've read the contract.
Do we still pay them for the 2 they cut?
Well, I'm sure we'll pay them for the 2 that they mowed, but I mean, if they're not going to get paid for others. Matter of fact, on one of the 4 that I had listed out, the young man next door who'd been complaining heavily about that, he has mowed it himself because I have explained to him what the situation is. He was patient while we went through the process to get the contract, get it approved by this board. So I guess there's one that was on that list that's not taken care of, and I can't send city time and money and employees out on private property like that.
And I certainly don't disagree with any of that. My just asking is because we get asked all the time,
and I did. I
don't want to blow your phone up.
I did get off topic. The question was, what do we do? Well, there are some. They've not met the terms of the contract, for one, that what therefore is, in my opinion, would be voided, become null in doing so. But at the same time, too, we have to draft another contract to get it before you folks so that we can get these. I would hope they're still willing to work with the city. Of course, we're now nearing the end of summer, and that was one of the things I tried to impress upon this contractor that we had. Yeah, they've been neglected and they're quite high, but by the time you get them knocked down, frost will come along in October, November.
It could go 6-8 weeks.
Right now, it can be.
Correct?
Right now, it can be 3 to 4 months because the contractor that we hired or we signed a contract with did not uphold his end of the agreement. So, we've been inundated. Alderman know with frustrated citizens to the point where, I feel for them all, but there's just only so much that we can do.
I think I just like for them that's going to be watching this, and for the few that's here, they know now that, why don't they cut that grass over there? Well, the city don't cut nothing.
Well, we shouldn't be in the business of mowing grass anyway. That's my biggest issue with it, has been for a long time. Okay. But there are some situations where we have to. And unfortunately, my 4.5 month absence didn't help matters none either. I mean, they were working on it. Don't think that because I wasn't here, there wasn't any activity. We couldn't get bidders, period. First time it was advertised, no one.
Hey, on a different note, I spoke to Adam, our engineer, on a property on Murfreesboro Road, the new car lot that's going in at the city limits up south of Murfreesboro Road.
Yeah.
I see the sidewalks are at the new construction on both sides, and I was asking him, is there a reason why that sidewalk is not coming across? So before the CO is issued, can you look into that and see if that was
across where the car lot's going there,
right there
on the left side going south?
It appears to the mini storage has their sidewalk, and the property next to them has their sidewalk, but the frontage, which would connect the 3 properties. It hasn't came in front of the Planning Commission since I've been on it, so I didn't know if that was something
I'll look into it.
Previous, years ago. The property's been undeveloped for a very long time.
Yeah,
so
I'll look into it.
But it's, it's one of the first things you see coming across. If there's a rule that it goes in, we hope that it goes in.
If it's on the plat, then it'll be physically in place before they get that CO.
Right.
That's one of the slowest builds. That was approved
That whole
quite
area.
a while ago.
Well, of course, like Adam can attest to as well, that's been up and down and back and forth, and the developers brought in changes to this and changes to that. So, Adam can maybe speak to some of that later if you'd like. But
it was before Adam's time. Trust me, I went to him first.
I know.
But how we are about them sidewalks. If we can get them in, let's get them in.
There's been changes made that Adam has had to look at as well since he's been here. So
I know you guys are on it.
Yes, sir. Anything else?
Thank you.
Thank you, Randolph.
Thank you.
Moving on to Parks and Recreation Department, our newest director, Mr. David McGowan.
Mayor, Board, thank you very much. You have our numbers for the month. Help desk tickets 52, man hours 278, total senior center visitors 806, visitors for activities 964. Some of our past projects there, we tried to just hit the bigger ones. We did a project water sewer, Fire 1, the ball complexes, repaired all the awning lights at all 3 concessions. Past events, August 7th, we got the dog park grant check presentation. August 24th was the Greenway Anniversary 5K. Upcoming events, tomorrow night, baseball, softball fall season kicks off, 6 p.m. I believe Chief Clark is throwing out the first pitch. September 6th through 9th is Miss Laverne pageant. Upcoming meetings, September 16th, Park and Rec Advisory. September 16th, Historical Preservation at 7. And the 19th is the Senior Center Advisory. Any questions?
No, sir.
Well, before I leave you, up to this point, everybody said something about Webb. I'm going to throw one more on you. About that same month and a half when Webb wasn't talking to me, he did a little stuff extra on Sunday, so we knew where he was. Middle of summer, about 105 degrees outside. Stopped and got him a fountain drink, took it to him. Fast friends ever since. If I knew the way to his heart was a fountain drink, I would have done it a whole lot earlier. Thank you.
Thank you, David. Finance Department, Ms. Phyllis Rogers.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Alderman. Tonight's report is for our first month of our fiscal year 2019-2020. For the general fund, expenses have exceeded revenues by approximately $1 million, which is normal because we don't get a bulk of our revenues in until after property tax season or during property tax season. Local sales tax, we collected $777,000, which is about $111 better than what we budgeted, and $46,000 better than last year for July. For State Street Aid, revenues exceeded expenditures by approximately $88,000. Stormwater revenues exceeded expenditures by approximately $75,000. And $34,000. Water and Sewer Fund revenues exceeded expenditures by approximately $430,000. On the second page is our balances in our various bank accounts. And the third page is a comparison to prior year. For revenues for general fund are up about $53,000. Expenses are up about $426,000. For water sewer fund, revenues are up about $36,000. Expenses are down about $234,000, and the tap fees are down about $384,000 as compared to last year.
What would be the tap fee issue? Just new buildings?
New build.
Thank you. Library Department, Miss Donna Bebout.
Mayor, Vice Mayor Alderman, good evening. Webb, I wanted to tell you, not only are you a great coworker, but you are a fantastic friend. And when he comes over to the library, he and I get to reminisce about the good farm days of killing hogs and milking cows and raising chickens, and then he starts apologizing and saying, now, I'm not saying that you're old, even though we both are the same age. So, Webb, thanks for being a great friend to all of us. Very well deserved. Okay, in the month of August, we finally slowed down a little bit at the library. June and July had us running with our numbers just crazy, and when I did the numbers this month, it was slightly disappointing, but they were still up. So our attendance in the library was 7,273 with an average of 280. We issued 146 new cards. We circulated 5,630 items, and there were 2,263 computer users. For our programs with our children and adult, we had a total of 31 programs, and there were 420 in attendance. Want to jump down to the FYI. All of our story times have resumed, are the regular days and times, and as you know, we have story times for ages birth all the way up through our homeschoolers, and then we have adult programs also, and you can find out all of that information by going to our catalog.laverntn.gov. Lego Club has started back. Kids Crafternoon, this is for children kindergarten through 5th grade. And September 16th at 6 o'clock, we're going to have our Medical Monday with Dr. Swansea again. We'd love to have you come out. He's been given some great information. Also, on September 26th at 6 p.m., two of our patrons and our residents here in Laverne are doing a cricket class. If you don't know what a cricket class is, you need to come out and find out. Even guys are learning how to do the cricket. And it's cricket class with Corey and Carissa. So I need an award for saying that. Back up to the book sale very quickly. Our book sale last week was extremely successful. We quartered and 50 cent all of our books. We dollared our DVDs. We made, after 5 days, $868 and some odd cents. We still had a lot of books left, so we decided to extend it this week, but we're doing a special. And the special is, you come in, you get a bag, a drawstring bag, just like this. You fill it up, and you can get it for $1. Now you're thinking, not very many books can go in there, right? Well, let me show you what you can get for $1 at your Laverne Public Library. Inside of this bag, I wrote it down so I wouldn't forget, 10 children's books, 10 paperback adult books, sci-fi, things like that, 10 music CDs, and 10 DVDs. Pretty good deal for $1, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And if you're a really good pack rat, you can get probably a little bit more in there. You can stretch it out. So the rest of this week, we are going to be doing our $1 bag, fill it up, take it home, give us $1, make us holler. We'll be happy. So have a great rest of the week and come out and see us at the library. And please come fill a bag.
Thank you, Ms. Donna.
All right. And Mayor, this is your bag.
Wonderful.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, any questions? After that, you're probably ready for me to sit down.
We
All
just,
right.
that
Thank
whole
you.
dollar holler thing's got me tore up.
Back to the childhood days.
Water treatment plant, Mr. Greg Purcell.
Who do I need to talk to about changing the order? Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Board. For the month of August, first let me start with this. For any water testing and informational calls about your water, you can call the water plant at 615-793-6536. You'll hear a voice prompt, press option 2, and you'll reach someone at the water plant. You can always leave a voicemail, we'll get back to you. Okay, in the month of August, we treated 129.9 million gallons of water, delivered 109.7 million gallons of water, with an average of 4.2 million gallons per day treated, and also with an average of 3.5 million gallons per day delivered. In July 2019, excuse me, it's supposed to be August, sorry, TOC removal was 54.2%. The requirement's 15. That's about 3.6 times better than the requirement. Few maintenance items that were done in August. All preventative maintenance items were done. We changed the sleeve on the strainer for the Paul unit. We replaced the stairs on the old side of the plant over near the maintenance shop. Those stairs need to be replaced. We started the annual unidirectional flushing the last week of May, as everyone's aware. Updates are coming out on the Laverne Facebook page to let you know what streets we're going to be on. I will stop right there. We have about 1.5 to 2 weeks left, and we'll be done for this year. In the month of August, we used 180,522 gallons of water. And like I said, we'll be done next week or two. In August, we had 6 customer complaints, 1 for quality. That ended up being air in the line from a main break that was in the area. We had 3 informational calls. People just wanted to know mainly what was in their consumer confidence report. And we had 2 pressure complaints. 2 things TDEC approved in August. They approved our bacteriological sampling plan, mainly with staffing changes and the third quarter or the third month of the quarter sampling. We just changed it by one group. They also approved our cross-connection plan in August. A few charts that you have in your packets. On page 6, you will see a chart for TOC removal. This is for all up to date for 2019. All of 2019, we were able to remain above 50% removal. The requirement again is 15%, so we're far exceeding that for the for the year of 2019. You'll also see a chart for turbidity. Turbidity is the cloudiness of the water. It's actually hard for the human eye to see like less than 5 NTUs. it's hard for you to see anything in that water. It looks clear. If you look at that, the MCL, which is the maximum contaminant level set by the EPA, is 0.3 NTUs. We are averaging in 2019 below 0.150 NTUs, which is less than half of the MCL. On page 7, you'll also see a chart for iron. The MCL is 0.3 milligrams per liter. We are averaging 0.02 milligrams per liter for the whole month of our year of 2019. You will also see on page 7 the manganese chart. The MCL is 0.05 milligrams per liter, and besides January and February where we were right at it, we're averaging 0.03 milligrams per liter, and we're continuing to work on getting that number down through the processes at the plant. On page 8, you'll see the breakdown of the 2019 customer complaints. Since January, it's been mainly low pressure complaints. When you see the pressure, it's low pressure. We've had 9 quality complaints. This is mainly solved by flushing or internal issues in that area. We've had 5 informational calls. A couple upcoming items. We have ordered a new fluoride pump and coagulant pump, so you will see in this report that the fluoride pump has not been installed, but it has been ordered, should be here in the next couple weeks. We're also working on getting prices for the city for the new turbidimeters. We should have that here shortly. We're working on final pricing for filter 5 replacement to get to the city, some quotes that we had. We're still waiting on the supplemental backwash pump on the new side. Once it's on site about mid-September, we're going to install it. Later this month, we will be starting our testing for commercial and industrial backflow testing, the cross-connection plan. We're going to start the industrial and commercial starting this month. Any questions?
Yes, sir. First off, the Paul unit is back up from where y'all cleaned the lagoon?
Yes, sir. In August, it was down for a couple of weeks so we could clean the lagoon.
Okay. And then were y'all able to get approval through TDEC and the state for relocating the turbiditors? I know we talked about that at one point to a better location so they can get a little bit more accurate reading.
That may have been before my time, but I think in the locations they're at, they'll be okay. It may be the sampling pumps that we have to change out as well.
Okay.
Because currently two turbidity meters are running off of one sample pump. That may need to be changed, but the location I don't believe is going to be any issues.
Okay.
So what about all the pressure complaints? What is that on most of the time the customers got a bad regulator, or is it something you all do?
Most of the time, probably 99% of the time, it is on the customer side. It's a pressure reducing valve in the home. They call a plumber and normally it's fixed. They get it fixed and there's no more complaint there.
Know all about it.
Every once in a while it may be because of, that street shut down because of a main break or something. They just weren't aware.
With your maintenance cost savings, the $14,000, that's direct results this year from the new hire?
Yes, sir. A lot of that has to do with the new hire. A lot of it has to do with the pricing of materials that we can get. That's actually a high end, that doesn't include everything that we do.
Right.
Those are more the big ticket items and what we can do in house.
14 grand's 14 grand.
Yes, sir.
To the good. So that's really exciting. Good job.
Any more questions?
Thank you.
All right.
Public Works Department. Garland?
Good afternoon, Mayor and Alderman. They all said something about Webb. I'm not going to say nothing because I'll embarrass him, so we'll leave it at that. This is for the month of August. We had a total of 88 requests for brush pickup. We had 1,270 pickups with 76 loads at 228,000 pounds. 305 hours with the workhouse program with 159 work orders. Vehicle repairs, we had 26, 23 in-house, 3 outsourced. Preventive maintenance was 10, equipment repairs 6. Fire department was 7 with a total of 11 hours. And I will say that Thomas and Mr. Field went last Friday to take another EVT test in Goodlettsville. They won't know nothing for a couple of weeks, but it was for electronics, so they're moving it up some.
Wow.
Any
Garland,
questions?
that's a lot of brush you got there.
Yeah, we do a lot more than brush, but that's what sticks out the most.
£250,000.
Yes.
After a big storm, though, that's I think I paid you guys a compliment on social media, but man, I seen them out working late and picking up. So
Well, we had the two running for a while. And
yeah, that's
we have picked up a new person in Public Works, the street department. So.
You got your sidearm working also on the.
We got it back today.
Well, I seen it going down the road.
Yeah.
So that's
No, it was good.
That's a good sign.
They had to come out and readjust the clutch on it, but
Good.
Everything was fine on it. So
I know he's out there doing his thing.
yeah.
So
Now we try to get it off that we can.
that's right.
But they've been working hard. The guys have. So, any questions?
Thank you, sir. Utilities Department, Mr. Michael Dietz.
Mayor Alderman, good afternoon. For the month of August 2019, monthly report's pretty consistent with most months. I do want to note the sewer project portion underneath the water. That's something we kicked off back in July this year. We pretty much surveyed everything north of Mercerboro Road, looking for broken cleanouts, things where water could get into the system basically, so we're not treating rainwater. I asked a couple of the water guys to spearhead that project on the replacement, and that's the 107 for the month that they've repaired. We've probably got about another 100 to 150 we need to investigate and look at. Meter department, they had a really busy month. They had a total of 324 work orders, 4 new meter sets. They had 60 meter swaps, 20 customer requests for meters to be tested and reports to follow. They tested 28 industrial meters. Miles of pipe walk was 10.9. They were able to locate 7 leaks, answered 266 one calls, and had a 7.5 hours overtime. Sewer department, again, pretty consistent with most months. They had 108 work orders, 67 service calls, 41 pump station. Final grinder pump inspections for the month was 0. Inspected 40 manholes. Grinder pump rebuilds were 8, and a total of 45.5 overtime for the month. Also, I'd like to take just a quick minute to ask that you keep Mr. Steve Welch in your thoughts and prayers. He's a longtime employee with the city, as well as a friend, going through some difficult times. So all the support's greatly appreciated. Any questions?
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Stormwater Department, Mr. Adam Leach.
Good evening, Mayor, Board. First off, I want to say that Webb's a wonderful guy, and I don't know if anybody's going to be capable to say enough about him, so I have to throw like my one sentence there. Also, my team won, so I'm glad about that. So from July 16th to August 15th, we had 22 calls, generated 5 new work orders. 2 that are currently in the process of closing up, or have actually closed up at this time, and they've closed 3 others. Street sweeper ran 12 days, was out for some minor maintenance. This is kind of becoming a trend with that machine. It's on that verge of 6-7 years that we might have to look at getting a new one pretty shortly. Constructions inspections, 179 of them this month, mostly erosion controls. Had a few major projects, lengthened, redefined a ditch in Woodland Hills, quite a bit of bush hogging, tree cutting, that type of thing, and some curb repairs. Any questions?
More of a comment. I've been contacted by some of the folks that live off of Blue Valley, the area off Old National Highway, and they're having a heavy oil. Well, I don't know that it's oil. I suspect that it may be oil, but there's a sheen coming across their backside of the property, and I don't know if that would be something that you would go out and look at, or do we refer them to?
Typically, my inspectors will go out first and see if we can determine the source, then we'll contact TDEC, because typically the ones that produce oil are your junkyards, that type of thing, and they usually have to have state permits, and the state will take an enforcement action through their permits.
Do you know if that that business has all the cars underneath the power line easement, is that classified now as a junkyard, or is it still a car lot?
I'm unsure how it is classified, but both car lots and junkyards have to have a state permit for basically all the hazardous substances that are necessary for cars. So either way, they'll have a permit through the state.
Thanks.
Thank you. Human Resources, Cheryl Lewis-Smith.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and Aldermen. Here is the report for Human Resources. We had 5 external jobs posted with 47 applicants, 2 actual new hires, 1 internal job posted with 1 applicant, 1 employee was promoted, 3 resignations and 1 termination. There were 0 workers' compensation claims with 3 liability claims, 87 care here appointments with 1 no-show, 417 enrollees, 7 HRAs were conducted, 2 short-term disability claims, 0 long-term disability applications, for a grand total claim dollar amount of $142,885. Are there any questions?
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Moving on to old business, second reading ordinance 2019-34, an ordinance to amend Title 20, Chapter 2, Section 20-208 of the Laverne Municipal Code regarding parks and recreation user fees. Need a motion to approve or deny?
I make a motion we approve.
Have a motion to approve from Alderman Church. Need a second.
A second.
Second from Alderman No. Alderman Church.
Aye.
Alderman No.
Aye.
Alderman Jones.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Brown.
Aye.
Motion passes. Consent agenda. Need a motion to approve or deny?
Make a motion to approve.
Have a motion to approve from Alderman Jones. Need a second.
Second.
Second from Vice Mayor Brown and Alderman No. All in favor of the consent agenda?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Consent agenda passes. New business, first reading ordinance 2019-35, an ordinance to abandon a road within the city of Laverne, Tennessee that is no longer being used as a public right-of-way, said road being a cul-de-sac portion of Longview Street. Need a motion to approve or deny?
Make a motion we approve.
Have a motion to approve from Alderman Church. Need a second.
Second.
Second from Alderman Jones. Alderman Church.
Aye.
Alderman No.
Aye.
Alderman Jones.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Brown.
Aye.
Motion passes. First reading ordinance 2019-36, an ordinance to amend the fiscal year 2018-2019 general fund budget. Need a motion to approve or deny?
Motion to approve.
Have a motion to approve from Alderman Jones. Need a second.
Second.
Second from Alderman Church. Alderman Church.
Aye.
Alderman No.
Aye.
Alderman Jones. Vice Mayor Brown.
Aye.
First reading passes. Resolution 2019-16, a resolution authorizing the City of Laverne to participate in the Public Entity Partners, Safety Partners Matching Grant Program. Need a motion to approve or deny?
Make a motion to approve.
Have a motion to approve from Alderman No. Need a second.
A second.
Second from Vice Mayor Brown. Alderman Church.
Aye.
Alderman No.
Aye.
Alderman Jones.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Brown.
Aye.
Resolution passes. Resolution 2019-17, a resolution of the City of Laverne to renew the gas franchise agreement with the town of Smyrna. Need a motion to approve or deny?
I make a motion we approve.
Have a motion to approve from Alderman Church. Need a second.
Second.
Second from Alderman Jones. Alderman Church.
Aye.
Alderman No.
Aye.
Alderman Jones.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Brown.
Aye.
Resolution passes. Resolution 2019-18, a resolution to authorize the mayor to enter into a contract for the purchase of real property along Old Nashville Highway for the future Fire Station 1 and headquarters facility. Need a motion to approve or deny?
I make a motion we approve.
Have a motion to approve from Alderman Church. Need a second.
A second.
Second from Vice Mayor Brown. Alderman Church.
Aye.
Alderman No.
Aye.
Alderman Jones.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Brown.
Aye.
Resolution passes. Resolution 2019-19, a resolution to accept the following subdivisions: Mason Road Business Center, The Ridge Phase 2, Pinnacle Point Phase 4, and the Cottages of Lake Forest Phase 6A. This received a favorable recommendation from the Planning Commission on August 27th, 2019. Need a motion to approve or deny?
Motion to approve.
Have a motion to approve from Vice Mayor Brown. Need a second.
Second.
Second from Alderman Jones. Alderman Church.
Aye.
Alderman No.
Aye.
Alderman Jones.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Brown.
Aye.
Resolution passes. Resolution 2019-20, a resolution authorizing the City of Laverne to participate in the Public Entity Partners James L. Richardson Driver Safety Matching Grant Program. Need a motion to approve or deny.
Make a motion.
Have a motion to approve from Alderman Jones. Need a second.
Second.
Second from Alderman No. Alderman Church.
Aye.
Alderman No.
Aye.
Alderman Jones.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Brown.
Aye.
Resolution passes. Motion to appoint or remove committee members. Parks and Recreation Advisory Committee. One term is vacant. Remove one member. Or make a motion to remove Debbie Hewen from this board. Needs a second.
I second for discussion.
Second from Alderman Church.
So today we received an email from Ms. Hugan showing that there's some history there going back to March where she was attempting to, according to the email, file a complaint. And before we go through this process, I was wanting to defer this matter so legal can look at it because we got the email so late in the day, about an hour prior to our board meeting. After we spoke about it during our workshop, and when I asked the mayor, is this an ongoing situation? I was told no, but this is brought to light that this may or may not have some history here. And I just think before we remove someone from the board, we should allow our attorney to at least look at the documentation that's provided to us. That's my wishes. I don't know if you guys got the same email that I received, but there's clearly an email that was sent from Ms. Hugan to Human Resources and other department heads in the city. So if she was attempting to file a complaint, and after speaking to the city administrator, he doesn't know of if it was answered. We don't know yet. So it may or may not have been answered by the city. I just think we would be rushing on this vote if there is something there. I think it would be the best thing to protect the city to allow Evan to get a little more involved.
I'd like to say some things too. I've been thinking about this matter, and one thing that I am aware of is that our city employees, members that are not volunteers but actual employees of the city, do receive sexual harassment training. They receive hostile work environment training, a number of different things that are all incorporated once a year into something of an HR boot camp, basically to help them understand different policies, how do we treat one another in the workplace, and what is expected behavior-wise of our employees. In addition to that, our nonprofit organizations in the city have had to sign a memorandum of understanding. And I'll just read item number 10 on this. That says, anyone participating in providing assistance is expected and encouraged to conduct him or herself at all times in a manner so as not to bring discredit upon the city of Laverne. So, well, of course, we would never want to step on anybody's right to say whatever they want to. They have freedom of speech. There are consequences sometimes to exercising those without using a level of professionalism and maturity. And although that may be unfortunate, it is kind of the reality of a situation that sometimes exercising freedom of speech doesn't reflect nicely upon the city too, and also on the people themselves. So I just want that to be noted, that we do have those policies for employees and nonprofits. And then I would like to ask Evan a question. Are we compelled to accept the volunteer efforts of someone? Are we mandated that we have to let someone volunteer for the city?
No, ma'am. Anybody on an advisory board or an appointed board, unless there's a statute, state law to the contrary, serves at the pleasure of this board.
Thank you.
So, Evan, can you, as being legal to this board, receiving that email an hour prior to our meeting tonight, what is your feelings on that? Would you like to look into it, or do you? I personally think I actually agree with Vice Mayor Brown in this situation. we have volunteers that we appoint on board members, on a board that fill out an application. They say, hey, I want to be on Greenway, or I want to be on, this board or that board. And they're doing it in a volunteer state. We as board members, we appoint them, and it's kind of like a elected official. We're elected in office. We're put up here, 20 days after we're elected with no training. Our training comes down the road. So I think, if I'm hearing you correctly, it would probably be in the city's best interest, as well as the volunteers, to have some sort of boot camp for the volunteers. Maybe something Cheryl can put together and say, these are the do's and don'ts. I don't know. I just feel that my own situation, after taking the MTAS classes, I understand my role a lot better than I did 6 months ago as an alderman, because I was taught. And I feel that someone that is volunteering their time, it's very hard to swallow removing somebody from a board that has been serving in multiple boards for multiple years because there's a disagreement with the mayor. And I can't find any complaints from citizens that's been forwarded to us or to me as an alderman. I've searched my emails, my text messages, everything. Miss Hugan, we have history, a negative history in the past. But I feel that she's more than qualified to sit on this board, and she attends the meetings. She doesn't always agree with each board member. That is one of the most unique, the Board of Zoning and Appeals, that group of individuals, they make some hard decisions. And we're not supposed to have a bunch of sheep on the board. We're supposed to have people with different concepts and different education and different backgrounds so they can look at the situation. And I've seen them with my own eyes. They have their own little disagreements, but on the board, they've always, across the board, everyone on the Board of Zoning and Appeals have always been professional representing the city. And I just feel that we need to at least let legal look at this, because if she attempted back in March to file a complaint, whether it has reasoning or not, she should have a process just like any other citizen or employee that files complaints. We have a process here that I know more than anybody. If individuals file a complaint, there's a process, and it was done professionally. So I feel as an elected or an appointed position, why wouldn't they have the same right as an employee?
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I'm sorry, the question on the table here is not about creating a new policy. It's just addressing this one particular.
It's to remove her from the board. That's what the motion is.
Right.
And that's why I seconded it, so we could discuss it. You weren't here because of your
right, but
death.
I did watch the meeting, and I'm well informed of what transpired on the meeting.
And then we did get I don't know if this other board members received the email.
We did.
So we all kind of got the email an hour before the meeting. I forwarded the email to Evan. I spoke to Bruce about it. I spoke to Evan personally prior to the meeting. But 2 or 3 minutes of conversation, to me, is not. It doesn't just the outcome of the vote, whether it's for to keep Ms. Hugan or to remove Ms. Hugan. I think the findings that she tried to file a complaint back in March, and if the city, if we didn't at least go through the process of that, I just feel that to me, there's something wrong with that process.
First of all, it's to request that the city attorney takes on a matter that the volunteer member or the individual is at the pleasure of the board. If it were going to go before a judge, then I think the city attorney would need to step in and give us some legal advice on that if they were going to take it before a judge. No matter what he looks at or no matter what he does, it still will go before the 5 of us. So therefore, taking up the city attorney's time to do a quasi-investigation, I don't think that would be proper. Also, on the other hand, you said that it was hard for you to swallow that they're attempting to remove someone from a board that served well for X amount of years. If memory serves me correct, and I'm losing my memory, so certain things when I do remember, I know I remember them. Sir, if I do remember correctly, last November you swallowed like a baby when they removed me from the Planning Commission and put you in there. But you're now telling me that there's a political problem with what they're doing? It serves at the pleasure of the board. Therefore, you do what the board, when they bring you in, you serve with the board. When the board says they no longer want you, the vote is taken and they go.
I agree with you, Alderman Jones, 100%. The difference between you and I, we are paid staff or elected officials. We're not volunteers, and we were appointed by the mayor. We're not volunteering our time. We receive $22,000 worth of insurance and a couple $100 a month. So there is a difference. When you were removed from the board and I was put in your spot because the mayor made those decisions.
Actually, it's a board vote.
It's the board.
It's the board that voted on that.
Thank you.
But there is the difference.
What difference is that?
We get paid, she's volunteers.
So you're willing to say that and not that I'm not, I'm serving, I'm volunteering by running for this position to serve my city. I volunteer just like that. I am given a stipend of $300. You tell me that $300 minus tax will cover for 1 year of us coming here and the things that we do.
That's not what I'm debating. That's not what I'm trying to explain.
I'm not debating with you.
I'm saying we're not volunteers.
At this point, I'm going to go ahead and call for the vote.
Thank you.
Alderman Church.
No.
Alderman No.
No.
Alderman Jones.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Brown.
Yes.
And I vote aye. Motion passes. We have 2 open positions. I will appoint or nominate to appoint Jensen Hebert and Carol Haas to fill the 2 vacancies. All in favor? Aye.
No.
Opposed? Moving on to Board of Zoning Appeals.
I didn't hear Alderman No's vote.
I guess I was thinking about the discussion part of it, but if I've got to vote without getting into a big discussion, because I was kind of looking at experience over others, but no.
Moving on to Board of Zoning Appeals. We have removed 1 member. Our motion that we remove Debbie Hewen from the Board of Zoning Appeals. Need a second.
A second.
Second from Vice Mayor Brown. Alderman Church.
No.
Alderman No.
No.
Alderman Jones.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Brown.
Aye.
And I vote aye. Motion passes. And I will appoint Melissa Joyner to this position. All in favor?
No.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
No.
Alderman No?
Melissa?
Yes.
Aye.
Moving on to Senior Citizens Advisory Committee. We have removed 2 members and we have 1 vacancy. I will start off by motioning that we remove Tony Vanetta from this board.
I second for discussion.
I have a second from Alderman Church.
Again, this to me is clearly we're taking somebody that provides volunteer service to a board that's been on the board for many years, has hundreds of hours of volunteer time, and again, I feel this is the mayor's just acting malicious.
Any other discussion?
I want to discuss too. I took some heat this weekend over this, and I just want to talk about it for a minute. I didn't defend Tony for what he said on Facebook. He's a grown man. And when you say things on social media about the city or the mayor or whoever, you wear that. What I defended Tony for, and I don't think there's anybody on this board going to be watching at home in this boardroom that can say that anybody in this city, including myself, has gave as much to that senior center as Tony does. So if 500 attaboys don't cover for one oops, then I guess that's just the way it is. But there again, it goes back to social media, and social media can be your friend or it can be your enemy. But like I said, I didn't defend Tony's actions as far as what he said. He's a grown man, but I will defend his actions for what he has gave to the senior citizens over the 5 years.
Any other discussion?
Yeah, Mayor, there's still, you haven't developed a reason. You haven't explained your reasoning to the board.
I did at the workshop. Yes,
No,
sir.
you didn't.
Not to your satisfaction.
No, sir, it
but-
wasn't my satisfaction. It was me personally. I feel, again, we're setting ourselves up for liabilities.
In all fairness, that reason is not required. All volunteers serve at the pleasure of the board.
I understand that. And I understand that if you don't agree with Mayor Cole, you're just not going to be doing anything in the city. Is that how it works?
I'm sorry you feel that way. Again, that's your opinion. That was not the reason cited at the workshop.
What was the
At
reason?
this point, I'm going to go ahead and call for the vote. Alderman, no.
No.
Alderman Church?
No.
Alderman Jones?
I'd like to ask a question from Bruce. Bruce, as far as you know, within the statute of the volunteer services, these individuals are still able to volunteer for these committees, aren't they? I mean, they can come to the meetings. They can do whatever.
I mean, the meetings are open meetings. They can always attend.
Exactly. Okay. I just wanted that on the record. Yes.
Vice Mayor Brown?
Yes.
I vote aye. Motion passes. And then make a motion to remove James R. Mosley. Need a second.
A second for discussion. Again, I've known Mr. Mosley for most of my life. A 45-year veteran from the Nashville Fire Department that retired with honors. The former mayor's husband that does so much in this community and continues to do things in the community, both behind the scenes and out in the open. I feel, again, that if you don't agree with the mayor's policies or the mayor's ways, you are subject to be removed from volunteer boards. You said the reasoning for Mr. Mosley was his professionalism. And I can't find anybody to discredit him on his professionalism. Our own fire chief has gone to Mr. Mosley's house and requested Mr. Mosley to assist in training for other situations in the community. With that being said, why would we remove him from a volunteer board that he is involved in 100%? He gives 100%. I've done the research. The meetings that he had missed over time, he was on shift providing life safety measures in our sister county. Since he's retired, or if he was off a shift, he was at the meetings. I spoke to members of the Senior Citizen Board. There's no issues. And again, this is personally a personal conflict with the mayor.
Alderman Church?
No.
Alderman Jones?
Yes.
Alderman no?
No.
Vice Mayor Brown?
No.
I vote aye. Motion fails. We've got 2 open positions. Our motion that we appoint Ivy Brown and Melissa Joyner to those 2 open positions. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Aye.
No.
That passes. Moving on to mayor and alderman comments. Alderman No.
I just wanted to reiterate what David talked about tomorrow night. I would love for the board members to be there at 5:45. Melissa Joyner and Michael Davis has worked really hard on trying to build up the baseball program and get it back. Come up and watch. And I didn't know this, but I guess we're all adults, and watch Chief Chris Clark attempt to throw a baseball 40 foot, so for the opening pitch. So I just want to bring that up. And city, state, whatever government, when I decided to put my hat in the ring for this job, I knew that if I got up here, I was going to have to make some harsh, tough, rough decisions. But you know what? It is just that, and you make some people mad. You hurt some people's feelings. But sometimes you just got to go with your conscience and what you believe in. But as board members, we opened ourselves up for a lot of scrutiny, whether it's at this level or the Washington, D.C. level. So there again, like I said Thursday night, if you're going to get on social media and you're going to read and believe what people are saying, if you don't use the old saying, sticks and stones, you're going to get your feelings hurt.
Alderman Church.
Bruce, can you read me the vote on the removal of Mr. Mosley? Did he remove? Did it pass?
No, it failed 3-2.
Okay. So currently he's still on the board?
That's correct.
Can you read me the vote?
I have Alderman Church voting no, Alderman Jones voting yes, Alderman No voting no, and Vice Mayor Brown voting no, and Mayor Cole voting aye.
All right, thank you. So for my comments for tonight will be, I recently lost my stepdad to cancer. A lot of people in the community kind of followed that, and I learned something with the death of my stepfather. This is a time in Laverne where people that don't like Matt Church contacted me. They reached out to me. They came by my home, dropped off food. The people that do like me came by my home. They brought my family food. So that's a good example of what kind of city we have. No matter what the politics are, the city reached out as a community, and they helped carry my family through these hard times. I struggle that we can't do that as elected officials. You know, if a citizen that they didn't support you in your election, and they come to your house because they hear that you've lost a loved one, and they give your 16-year-old some food because no one's home, and they say, hey, get this to your family. That has meaning to it. And Mayor, what you're doing, it's not dividing the city. You're killing the integrity of individuals that today they may not like you. Yesterday they did like you. And 6 months from now, they're going to worship you maybe. And I struggle with that. There's people in this room that we have disagreements with. I personally have disagreements with. But they have that right to say whatever they want to say about Matt Church, because Matt Church fought for this position, took an oath when we won this position, and our job is to carry the torch of the city and provide what the staff needs and budgeting and all this other stuff we're learning what our responsibilities are. It's not to single people out and say whether they are or whether they aren't professionals. It's not to single people out to say whether they're good enough to be on a board after they've been voted to be put on the board. And I just want to say that that's real important for everyone to understand that. And sincerely, I want to say that the way this community stepped up to help my mom and my brother and myself, it is overwhelming. I'll never forget what was done, and I thank you with all my heart. That's all I have.
Alderman Jones.
I'd like to say anytime I make a vote from this chair, I'm voting, and my first thoughts are for the city of Laverne. I make the choices I do not make the choices. I go by what the voice of the people say, and I could only sit here and speculate that the reason that individuals might not have gotten email from other individuals across this board is something I've heard and I've been hearing in this city since I first started. Is they're afraid. They don't want to get on that target. They just don't want to get involved in it. You got good people here that try to do the best that they can, but they don't come to these meetings because they don't want to be placed as a target by anyone. And they're just afraid, and their only portal is off of Channel 3. They don't want to come here and get that cross put on their back or that X on their back and become a target for anyone. And I really would wish if individuals, we shouldn't have to wait for a tragedy to, go to your neighbor and help your neighbors out. We don't need to wait for someone to get in a bad way. But, the lines are drawn by individuals themselves. I don't think that, because when I first came here, no one knew me. They got to know me. And, truth be told, if I had it to do all over again, I probably wouldn't do it. But once I start something, I've never backed out. I finish what I start. But I just don't think that you need to. I would hope that this town can come together, this city can come together, and we can do. But first and foremost, we've got to make sure that we're doing it for the city and don't look at it as an individual thing. Thank you.
Vice Mayor Brown.
Well, I am thrilled to change the topic. This weekend, I'm so excited that it'll be the Miss Laverne pageant that is open this year to the residents of the county. It's a great teamwork event for our teens, youth, and our children. Mostly women, mostly females, but there is a baby class that includes the Prince of Laverne, the city of Laverne. It is a fun event. It is so inspiring. If you haven't been to one, it's really not about what you look like. These young ladies, and in some cases young men, are very involved in their community. They're very involved with their school, with extracurricular activities, sometimes with their churches, with nonprofits. They are highly academic, excellent grades. These are the best of the best, and I am so proud to MC for the pageant this year again. And so if you are not busy this weekend and you want to stop by, it'll be at Laverne Middle School. I am so excited, and you can look on our website and get all exact times of every different event and everything. But I am so excited to have that event in Laverne, and I cannot wait to meet our contestants this year. Thank you.
Thank you. Want to, again, congratulate David McGowan on his new position as Director of Parks and Recreation and Maintenance. Ask for your continued prayers for Steve Welch. And let's work together to unify this city. That's been a common theme since November. So let's bring together all of those different thoughts and ideas. With that, I call this meeting adjourned.
Hey, listen, what time?